Social media is wild lately. No matter if CD Projekt announces a fourth Witcher installment or Naughty Dog drops the first trailer for Intergalactic, the internet just loses it. Gamers and social media seem to have one main hobby these days: complaining. But not about bugs, gameplay issues, or quality, which would be the most reasonable thing to complain about nowadays. No, the hot topic is always character design. Apparently, modern games' character design choices are becoming a big problem. Everything is woke now. Witcher 4, Ciri has been uglified according to some. Intergalactic, well, obviously the protagonist is a space lesbian. Why? Because she shaved her head. Clearly, that's all the evidence we need. And even though if she was, who cares? From the trailer, it doesn't seem to be relevant for the story. Even GTA 6 is being called woke. Why? Who knows? The new Assassin's Creed based on a real historical figure, also woke. You could announce a Tetris reboot and people would probably accuse the falling blocks of being propaganda. The issue is that we are not talking about personal taste anymore. It's not even about design choices we genuinely dislike. Everything has become political. Character design is now dragged into debates about DEI, representation, and fear of some kind of takeover of people's favorite franchises. Now, I'll admit it, there are cases where this so-called wokeness can go too far, or rather, where diversity feels forced. It happens when studios seem to be working through a checklist instead of creating characters who naturally fit the story. Some designs feel like they are there just to secure funding, whether it's from investors, sponsorships, or even the state. That's when things start to feel a little off. I call this working on a checklist. It's not about storytelling, it's about ticking boxes to match production guidelines and keep the money flowing. Most people don't care about someone's beliefs, sexuality, religion, or origin, as long as it doesn't harm them or stop them from living their lives. Sure, there are always exceptions, but generally that's how it is. But we're talking about games here, not politics or sociology. So why does it feel like these two worlds are colliding? Well, sometimes studios try too hard to make a statement. They force opinions onto players or treat them like they are too dumb to think for themselves. Take Dragon Age: The Veilguard. The game treats you like you're an idiot. Questionable NPCs tell you exactly what you should be doing, as if you're incapable of figuring out on your own. They change characters within the series to tick diversity checkboxes, and that's when things feel unnatural. But there's the twist. This doesn't happen everywhere, and it's definitely not as common in gaming as people think. Movies? Oh yeah, Hollywood has been torching franchises left and right, but gaming? We're not quite there yet. Take Ciri in Witcher 4. Some people are crying that the new design is woke or leftist, but let's think about it. At the end of Witcher 3, depending on your choices, Geralt steps down and Ciri takes over. Apparently that is the ending the developers chose to go with, not the worst ending in my opinion, but taking on that kind of responsibility changes you. It's tough. She's getting older, constantly in danger, and has probably taken more than a few punches to the face. Here's the real issue. People aren't upset because she's woke. They are upset because she's not the young, innocent, hot princess anymore. Now she's a woman with abilities, maturity, and strength. If you mess with her, you're the one getting punched, and it's not going to be pretty. Characters need development, and the development of Ciri only makes sense. Having no character development would mean rehashing the same story all over again. That's boring. People would complain about that too. Then there's Intergalactic by Naughty Dog. People took one look at the protagonist shaving her head in the trailer and said space lesbian. But why is she shaving her head? Pest control, military regulations, personal preference. The trailer screams 80s and 90s sci-fi vibes. Alien 3, Ripley had a shaved head and nobody called her woke back then. From the trailer it's clear this character has experience. She's not some kid, not a waifu, and definitely not a stereotypical housewife. She's someone who's seen some stuff and lived to tell the tale. If I were heading into a dangerous mission on some hostile moon, I'd pick her over one of those overly polished hypersexual characters any day. We've seen the same arguments with Fable and Horizon Forbidden West. People compare these Western characters to the big-breasted, flawless designs you would see in Stellar Blade or in The First Descendant. Not every game is trying to look like an anime pin-up. Western action games aim for realism. At least usually they try to do. They want believable characters, not ones that look like they are just walked out of an anime. If that's not your thing, that's totally a valid choice. There are plenty of free-to-play games that cater to those tastes, but not every game has to be, and there's enough room on the gaming market for both tracks. For example, I've played The First Descendant myself and collected plenty of character skins. There's nothing wrong with enjoying both approaches. Yes, some franchises have been ruined by studios forcing new policies into their stories, Believable narratives became secondary, or worse, a complete afterthought, and gaming is slowly walking down that same risky path. I hope it doesn't go too far. We've got bigger problems in gaming, like live service models and heavy monetization, but that's a topic for another video. Just to make one thing clear, I'm personally all for inclusiveness and diversity in a manner that makes sense. It has to be good balance in gaming. Foremost, we need a good story, good gameplay. A game should be somewhat playable and run instead of crashing. For everything, there's a right place and a right time. At the end of the day, people need to stop expecting characters with flawless makeup, perfect skin, and well, huge personalities in Western action games that are trying to tell a story with a character matching to set development. If you prefer more Asian game design choices, I don't blame anyone. There are plenty of games to choose from, and in my opinion, there's enough room for both. But The Witcher and Intergalactic might not be the ones you're searching for then. So in the end, people need to calm down and not see a political conspiracy behind every design choice there is. That's all I have for this one. See you on the next one.